The music at the luxurious Lekki penthouse party seemed to stop for her alone. Amora stood frozen, the shimmering dress she'd bought with her last savings suddenly feeling like a sack of shame. Across the room, her best friend Ngozi, the girl she'd grown up with in the crowded streets of Ajegunle, was locked in a passionate embrace with Kola, the wealthy businessman Amora had spent 6 months carefully trying to ensnare. Ngozi's eyes met Amora's over Kola's shoulder, and in that brief glance, there was no apology, only cold, triumphantly. The whispered promise they'd made to always rise together echoed like a cruel joke in Amora's mind. Her silent intentions to secure a better life through Kola were now publicly, brutally shattered. As the crowd's murmurs grew, Amora felt the floor sway. What would she do now that her own sister had stolen her golden chance? Hello, welcome to the Echoes from the Baobab Tree. Before we continue, if you're finding this story compelling, consider subscribing. We post new African stories every week, and your support allows us to keep bringing you these deeply interesting stories. Now, back to the story. 3 months earlier, the air in their small, shared room in Ajegunle was thick with heat and frustration. Amora scrolled through Instagram, her face illuminated by images of lavish parties and designer bags. Ngozi was beside her, mending a torn dress. "Look at them, Ngozi," Amora whispered, her voice a mix of envy and determination. "Living the life we only dream about. We work 2 jobs each and still can't afford a proper fridge. This struggle is not our portion." Ngozi sighed, putting her sewing down. "But Amora, how? We have no connections. Our family is back in the village waiting for us to send help." Amora's eyes hardened. "We have our beauty and our sense. We just need one opportunity, one right person to see us. And we must be smart and silent about our plans." The opportunity came on a rainy Tuesday in August. Amora, working as a temporary receptionist at a high-end hotel in Victoria Island, watched as a distinguished man in a tailored suit argued with the manager over a lost briefcase. She remembered a similar case left at the concierge earlier. With calm efficiency, she retrieved it. The man, Kola, was immensely grateful. He handed her a crisp business card and a generous tip. "You have a keen eye." "Thank you," he said, his smile warm. That night, Amora showed Ngozi the card. "This is it," she said, her heart pounding. "He's a big developer. This is our gateway." Ngozi looked worried. "Amora, be careful. These rich men, they have many women." But Amora wasn't listening, her mind was already weaving a future. Amora began a calculated campaign. She didn't call Kola immediately. Instead, she followed him on social media, learning his interests: classical music, golf, philanthropy. 2 weeks later, she accidentally bumped into him at a charity art exhibition in Ikoyi. She was wearing her best outfit, a simple but elegant dress she and Ngozi had pulled money for. "Mr. Kola. What a coincidence," she said, feigning surprise. He remembered her. They talked about the art. Amora, having read up on the artist, held her own. He was impressed. "Before leaving," he said, "a group of us are having dinner next Friday. You should join us. You're interesting." Amora accepted, her silent intentions feeling closer than ever. The dinner was at an exclusive rooftop restaurant. Amora brought Ngozi, insisting she needed moral support. "Just be cool, act natural," Amora instructed. But Ngozi was overwhelmed by the opulence. Kola's friends, including his quiet but sharp-eyed business partner David, were there. Amora shone, laughing at the right moments, sharing smart opinions. Ngozi, however, remained mostly quiet, admiring the Lagos skyline. Later, as Kola drove them home, he focused on Amora. "You're different from the others," he mused. Ngozi, sitting in the back, watched the exchange, a strange feeling settling in her stomach. When Kola dropped them off, he gave Amora a lingering look. "I'll call you." Back in their room, the dynamic shifted. Kola called Amora regularly, sending her money for a transport, which was always far more than needed. He bought her a new phone. Amora was floating on cloud nine, buying new clothes and better food. Ngozi, however, started receiving subtle advances from David, Kola's friend. He texted her, asking about her day. Ngozi showed Amora the messages. He's nice, but his assets are in his mother's name. Can you imagine? She scoffed. Amora, distracted by her own plans, waved it off. Just keep him close. He's still connected to Kola. We need to be in their circle. A seed of resentment was planted in Ngozi's heart. Why was Amora the one getting the real prince? Weeks passed. Amora's strategy was one of poised restraint. She never asked Kola for anything directly, instead showing herself as independent and caring. She'd cook simple meals and bring them to his office, saying, "I know you skip lunch." He adored it. One evening, after a movie at his house, he held her hand. "I'm really starting to fall for you, Amora," he confessed. Her heart leapt with victory. But she simply smiled softly. "I care about you too, Kola." That night, she celebrated with Ngozi. "It's working. Soon, he will ask me to move in. Our problems will be over." Ngozi forced a smile, congratulating her friend while her own envy grew like a weed. The tension exploded during a weekend getaway to a resort in Abeokuta. Kola invited Amora and told her she could bring Ngozi. David was also there. The first night, during a game of truth or dare, David was asked about his biggest fear. "Gold diggers," he said bluntly, looking directly at Amora and Ngozi. The air went cold. Amora laughed it off gracefully, but Ngozi was mortified. Later, in their shared room, Ngozi cried. "They see us as beggars, Amora. This is humiliating." Amora, however, was furious. "This is why we must be silent. We can't act desperate. We play the long game. Now you've shown him weakness." It was their first big fight. The following day, Amora doubled down on her perfect girlfriend act. She woke up early, made breakfast for everyone, and was endlessly sweet. Kola was charmed. Ngozi, hurt and angry, decided on a different path. While Amara was busy massaging Kola's shoulders by the pool, Ngozi found David. She listened to him complain about his business troubles, offering soft, empathetic words. Then, she subtly shifted the conversation. "Kola is so lucky to have Amora. She's amazing, but she has so many big dreams, expensive dreams. I hope it doesn't pressure him." She planted a seed of doubt with a concerned smile. David, who was loyal to Kola, stored the comment away. The final night of the trip arrived. Kola planned a romantic dinner for just him and Amora under the stars. He told her to meet him at the pavilion at 8 p.m. Amora spent hours getting ready, her heart full of certainty. Tonight, he would make a serious commitment. At 7:55 p.m., as she walked the path to the pavilion, she saw two figures already there, silhouetted against the sunset. As she moved closer, her blood turned to ice. It was Kola and Ngozi. And Ngozi was crying, her body trembling as she spoke. "I had to tell you, Kola. I can't watch her use you anymore. She's only after your money. She has a whole plan," she calls it her silent intentions. Amora stopped dead, the world tilting on its axis. Kola's face, initially shocked, slowly darkened into a storm of betrayal. He turned, and his eyes found Amora standing there, dressed for a dinner that would never happen. His voice was like a whip crack in the quiet evening. "Amora, is this true?" Before she could even form a denial, Ngozi turned around, and the look on her face was not of sorrow, but of cold, calculated victory. The trap had been sprung, and Amora was caught in the open, her silent intentions exposed under the cruel, fading light. The silence that followed Kola's question was heavier than the humid Ajegunle night. Amora stood paralyzed, the words, silent intentions, hanging in the air like a poisonous gas. Ngozi's tears had vanished, replaced by a mask of pained concern. Kola's expression cycled from confusion to a deep, wounded anger. All this time, he said, his voice dangerously low, the home-cooked meals, the casual conversations about my work, the "I don't need your money" act, it was all a strategy. Amora's mouth was dry. She could deny it, but the calculated coldness in Ngozi's eyes told her any defense would be twisted further. Her grand plan, built in whispers with her best friend, had been dismantled by the very person who helped draft it. What would remain of her life after this spectacular collapse? 3 weeks before the getaway, the seed of betrayal had taken root. It was a late night in their Ajegunle room. Amara was gushing over a diamond bracelet Kola had given her, oblivious to Ngozi's simmering frustration. He said it reminded him of my sparkle, Amara sighed, holding it to the dim light. Ngozi, who had just paid their overdue electricity bill with her meager sales commission, snapped. Your sparkle. Amora, wake up. We are from the gutter. He sees a pretty project, not a wife. And you are falling for it. Amora, stung, retorted, at least I'm doing something. You're just waiting for a perfect man who doesn't exist. That fight ended in cold silence. Later, as Amora slept, Ngozi stared at the bracelet. A bitter thought solidified: if Amora's silent intentions could get her this, what could her own, even quieter ones achieve? Ngozi's strategy was one of subtle erosion. She started accepting David's invitations for coffee, not because she liked him, but because he was Kola's confidant. In a cafe on Allen Avenue, David, eager to impress, would talk about Kola's past troubles with greedy ex-girlfriends. He's scared of being used, deep down, David revealed one afternoon. Ngozi stored every piece of information like a weapon. She also began a subtle campaign on social media, posting old pictures of her and Amora from their struggling days with cryptic captions like "loyalty before luxury" #true friends. To Kola's friends, it painted her as the humble, grounded one, and Amora as the one who might have forgotten her roots. The weekend before the Ajegunle trip, a crucial opportunity fell into Ngozi's lap. Amora had left her diary unlocked on her bed while she went to fetch water. A page fluttered open. Ngozi's eyes scanned the entries, notations of Kola's favorite wines, reminders to ask about his Lagos project casually, and one damning line: target, secure commitment or major investment by December. Silent intentions must remain silent. Ngozi's hands trembled, not with guilt, but with power. She took a clear photo with her phone. This was the undeniable proof she needed. She now held the key to destroying Amora's facade and presenting herself as the honest, wounded party. Back at the resort pavilion, Amora found her voice. It was trembling but clear. Kola, whatever she told you, it's not the whole story. Yes, I wanted a better life. Who doesn't? But my feelings for you are real. Ngozi let out a soft, disbelieving laugh. Real? Amora, you read books on how to talk to rich men. You practice conversations with me. She turned to Kola, tears miraculously reappearing. I tried to support her, but when I saw she was hurting you, a good man, I couldn't stay silent. Kola looked from one woman to the other, the one he thought he loved, dressed for seduction, and the humble friend, appearing heartbroken for his sake. The evidence in his mind was stacked by Ngozi's perfect performance. Get your things, Amora, he said, his voice final. David will drive you back to Lagos tonight. We are done. The drive back to Lagos was a 5-hour journey through Amora's personal hell. David, loyal to Kola and now convinced of Amora's guilt, said nothing. Amora stared out at the dark highway, her mind replaying every shared dream with Ngozi. The pain of betrayal was a physical ache. She arrived at their Ajegunle room at dawn, alone. The sight of the two single mattresses on the floor, the shared makeup table, felt like a mockery. All of Kola's gifts, the phone, the clothes, the jewelry, were left behind at his command. She was right back where she started, but infinitely poorer in spirit. She had lost her future and her past in one night. For Ngozi, the following week was a dizzying ascent. Kola, feeling betrayed and vulnerable, leaned on her for honest companionship. She moved into his guest house in Ikoyi, just until she found her feet, playing the role of the remorseful friend who did the right thing. She was careful, never asking for anything, only offering quiet sympathy. Kola began to see her in a new light, the truly genuine one among the gold diggers. He bought her a new laptop for a business course she mentioned, and the attention was intoxicating. Ngozi, in her quiet moments, pushed down the twinges of guilt. She had won. The silent war was over. Amora, however, was not defeated. The humiliation hardened into a cold, clear resolve. She avoided their old room, staying with a distant cousin in Suralia. She got her old waitressing job back, her smile now a practice tool, not a genuine expression. She also did something Ngozi never expected. She went back to school online, using her meager tips to pay for digital marketing courses. The dream was no longer to find a man, but to build something that couldn't be stolen. Yet, in the quiet of the night, the thirst for justice, for exposing Ngozi's hypocrisy, burned bright. Ngozi's downfall began with a simple lapse. Feeling secure, she grew careless. While using Kola's tablet to order food, she forgot to log out of her email. Later, Kola used the tablet and saw an open draft. It was an email to David, unsent. The subject line read, "Next phase." Curiosity piqued, he read it. The message detailed a plan to slowly introduce the idea of her managing a small boutique, with Kola as an investor. It read, "He's soft now after the Amora shock. If we pace it, he'll fund it by year-end without even realizing it's my main goal." The language was chillingly strategic, mirroring what he'd hated about Amora. A deep, sickening realization dawned on him. He had been played by a master. 1 month later, Amara was serving tables when a familiar, expensive car pulled up outside the modest restaurant. Her heart hammered. Kola stepped out, alone. He walked straight to her, his face unreadable. "We need to talk," he said. He led her to a quiet corner and placed his phone on the table. On the screen was a recorded video. He pressed play. It showed Ngozi, in his living room, laughing on a video call with a friend. Her voice was clear and cruel, so I used her own diary against her. The fool wrote everything down. Now Kola thinks I'm some saint. This house will be mine soon, you'll see. Amara watched, a storm of emotions raging, vindication, fury, sorrow. Kola's eyes were grave. "I was a fool twice. I'm sorry, Amara." He then slid an envelope toward her. "This isn't for romance. It's an investment. In your marketing business plan I pulled from the cloud. Consider it my apology for not seeing the truth." He stood to leave, then turned. "She's packing her things now. Silent intentions," he said with a bitter smile, "have the loudest consequences." As his car drove away, Amara clutched the envelope, not yet opening it. She looked out the window, not at the retreating luxury, but at the busy, resilient streets of Lagos. She had her capital, she had her freedom, and for the first time, she had a future built not on silence and schemes, but on the crumbling ruins of a broken sisterhood, ready to be rebuilt by her own hands alone.